Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Metro Ford Cup Series here at the Old Bashers Racing League. Today, we're at the virtual Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's guaranteed to be a great time here today. It's going to be a long race. It's going to be 100 laps out on the tricky Indy Oval. And as always, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East in the booth, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as we get ready for another fun night here today. Right now, single car qualifying is underway, and we're getting our competitors out on track to see what they're able to do here. As we follow along with Steve the Mule Thompson, number 67 machine. Looking forward, it's the first time these guys have ran an Indy in quite a while, so it's going to be interesting to see what exactly transpires. Last week was very, very exciting as we were at Watkins Glen, the road course. 60 laps around the Glen. That was bested by Josh Robinson with a spectacular win. The second last week was Tom Ogle. Third was Steve Thompson, then Andrew Hess, Dwayne MacArthur round out our top five. Still a lot of racing left to go here in this series as we get ready to head towards our chase rounds. This week we're in Indianapolis. Next week we're at Michigan and then Daytona before the chase playoff start, where we take the top 16 drivers and get them out on track for the kind of whittle them away for the final championship. We've got individual points at play, we've got team points, and we've got manufacturers points, thanks to Copco for always putting these numbers and data together for us. It's Toyota out front with 890 points. Chevrolet is in second with 857 points, and then Ford lags behind with 792 points. So everybody's out there trying to keep their manufacturers' friends close to see if they can best their friends and other machines. Thompson clicks off a 53.32 his last time by. Currently pole is set by Lee Wardsdale, a 53.29. But let's see what Steve Thompson's able to do in the number 67 machine, if he can best his lap time as he takes a very unique looking line through there. And still a lot left to go in the actual points chase as well. You've got Joshua Robinson out front with 958 points. You've got Dwayne MacArthur in second, our favorite fast Canadian, with 938 points. Then Andrew Hess, Thomas Ogle, and the man himself, Patrick Milligan, the E-Metro Ford aficionado, still fifth in points. But like we said, the points chase is always so close here. Anything can happen. As Thompson clicks off at 53.17, not a good enough for pole, which is currently owned by Dwayne MacArthur. Provisional pole with a 53.08. It's usually a lot of the same suspects in the top five in each and every week, barring any problems. Now, Watkins Glen was kind of a curveball for a lot of guys, as the field was not as bunched up as we have seen in the past. Now, tonight's going to be very interesting to see what type of green flag runs we get, who's going to be able to hold on to it, and who's going to be finding themselves wearing out those tires a little prematurely. Now, it looks like an oval out here today, but don't let that confuse you. As look at that, MacArthur just keeps getting faster and faster with a 53.07. So it looks like an oval here out at Indy, but it's more of a square shape. Each corner drives very differently, which can make it a challenge for some of our drivers, and not crazy banking that we're used to at some of the mile-and-a-halfers. Let's see what Al Turner, number 76, can put down. We had a little bit of team changes as well this week. Travis Rogers in the number 72. He switched over to Throwback Racing for the first time, representing his team this week. Milligan puts it on top of pole with a 53.06. The number 18, the E-Metro Ford-backed Interstate Battery-sponsored Ford Mustang. Good to see Milligan out front charging hard. He still has one last lap to try and improve that 53.06. About half the field, not quite half the field, is qualified yet. And we've got about 27 drivers making it out tonight. As a reminder to our fans at home, if you have a favorite driver out on track running a triple-digit number, that signifies they are a rookie here with the OBRL racing crew. And they have to get a few more rounds under their belt to earn that double digit before they can qualify with the big boys. Current rookies that are joining us tonight: Devin Shaw, Kelly Cool, Randy Bott, Jess Vaught. A lot of new guys starting to show up here today. But look at this, Tom Ogle with Team Miata. He puts on the best lap time so far, a 52.94. Ogle always running the bright pink White Claw sponsored Toyota Camry. But here comes Travis Rogers, number 72 machine. He's also getting quicker and quicker, dropping a 52.82, tying with Andrew Hess in the number 54 machine. But so far, good enough for a top spot. Are we going to see Rogers or Hess improve their best lap times, or is this one of those tracks where your first lap is normally your fastest? Good to see Rogers out there up front. This is one of, he's a very fast driver. He's seen to find himself in a good position a couple times this season to bring home a win, but just got bested on pit strategy. Gary Kipp for the number 68 machine clicks off a 53.45 for his opening lap. So keep an eye on Travis Rogers today, as now he's on the same team with Mike Everhart, old Titanium as we like to call him, in the number 17 machine. Everhart has qualified so far for 13th. So it's going to be very interesting to see if the two teammates are able to link up today and maybe make something happen. Now Travis Rogers, number 72, we were just talking about him. He's on top of provisional pole. He has qualified on pole 3 times so far this season, but he is still chasing his first win for the Metro Ford Cup Series. So it'll be interesting to see if the number 72, maybe working with some new drivers around him that can help work on pit strategy, will allow him to finally take that first win. Josh Robinson, number 23 machine, your current points leader in the Toyota Camry. He clicks off at 53.04 his opening lap here. He's got to get down to a 52.82 to try and catch Rogers and Hess, currently 1 and 2 on top of provisional pole. But if that live timing tower tells you anything, it shows just how close this racing can be. As Robinson's going to come by for the last time. His last time at 53.04. Let's see if the number 23 driver can best it and put himself up on top of pole. He does not. He clicks off at 52.87, about 0.05 of a second off of pole. Qualifying about to come to an end. We're going to send our drivers out on track. But not quite sure what we're going to see here today. We talked to some of the drivers, and we're expecting about a 35 to 40 lap pit window before they have to come in for fuel and tires. So with a 100-lap race, if you're good at math at home, that is not a one-stop race. That's going to be maybe a 2-stop. Might see some cautions that mix things up. It's always hard to tell. But let's get ready to take it to tonight's grid and run through the lineup of all the talented drivers out here today. Starting up front, you've got Travis Rogers, the number 72 machine. Andrew Hess starting second in the 54. Josh Robinson with Team Miata will be starting third in the 23 machine. Tom Ogle, teammates to Josh Robinson, starting fourth in his number 11 car. Greg McDaniel starting starting fifth tonight in the number 30 machine. Patrick Milligan starting sixth in the Metro Ford sponsored number 18. Dwayne MacArthur with Last Ditch Racing, the current fastest Canadian on track, starting 7th tonight in number 97. Mike Schrader, number 4, starting 8th. Brian Lynch, number 15, will be starting 9th. Scales will be starting 10th in the number 8 machine. Steve the Mule Thompson, number 67, starting 11th in the lineup. Lee Warsdale, the number 99 machine, starting 12th out on grid tonight. Dakota Pischke, the number 1, starting 13th. Pete Kopko Cocoa Puffs, number 3 machine, starting 14th. Michael Titanium Everhart, starting 15th in the number 17 car. Gary Kipfer starting 16th in the 68. Al Turner in the number 76, starting 17th. Jonathan Green, one of the newer racers here for OBRL, will be starting 18th in the number 37 machine. His newly awarded double-digit number. Todd Bosworth, the number 42, will be starting 19th. Dodd Hoskins will be starting 20th. Jim Westerfield starting 21st. Jess Vaught starting 22nd. Kelly Cool starting 23rd. One of the rookies out on track here today. John Hastings will be starting 24th. Randy Bott will be starting 25th. Lewis Albee starting 26th. Devin Shaw will be starting 27th to round out our grid here tonight as we get ready to send them out and roll all the drivers past our grid camera. And what a busy grid it is here today. You've got a few drivers starting from the pits. It's going to be Jim Westerfield, Randy Bott, Lewis Albee, and possibly Devin Shaw. But up front, it's going to be Andrew Hess, Travis Rogers. Rogers still searching for that first win so far this season. As all of our drivers are going to follow that iRacing pace car. Beautiful day here at Indianapolis. What are we going to see from our competitors? A track that is fairly tough to drive. Tire wear is going to be the forefront of all of our drivers' minds here today, as it is 100 laps with an estimated 35 to 40 lap pit window before the drivers have to come in. But pace car will be coming in this time by. Are we going to see a new winner crowned here at Indianapolis, as Rogers is able to start getting more and more poles, but still searching for that elusive first win? Pace car is in. Here we go at Indianapolis. Rogers gets on the gas. Andrew Hess times it fairly well. Here comes number 23 of Josh Robinson as well, trying to make something happen. Rogers drifting up high. Hess still in second. Ogle third. Milligan has moved up 2 spots already, up into fourth, while Robinson's falling back to fifth. You're on board with Robinson right now. He's going to try and chase down both Patrick Milligan and Tom Ogle. For the most part, the top 5 drivers settling in single file. Josh Robinson looks like he's going to get passed by Dwayne MacArthur on the outside line. MacArthur running all the way out to the wall, trying to stay in the draft of him. It's going to be Mike Schrader right in front of him. And the number 4 machine. MacArthur looks like he's trying to make a few moves early on here, trying to get around Schrader to take over that top 5 spot. And it looks like he's going to make it stick going into turn 1. Up front, still Travis Rogers. He's got a fairly comfortable lead over second place Andrew Hess and third place Tom Ogle. but who is going to be able to keep the tires underneath them? Now, we talked to some of the drivers in their haulers before tonight's main event, and they're saying they're expecting maybe a little bit of a single file Congo line for a while as everybody gets in a groove and starts settling out and getting through the first fuel run. But look at MacArthur trying to make moves early on tonight. Now he's going to be pressuring Patrick Milligan, the number 18 machine, while accompanied by Mike Schrader. Now, all these drivers know with the rounds clicking off, not a lot of time left in the season to secure a spot in the playoffs. As Travis Rogers, your current race leader and pole setter, he is on the bubble. He is 16th on the points position, so he knows, hey, I need to get some points. I need to get some points quickly to secure myself into that chase with only a few rounds left. But it looks like right now the field's kind of broken down single file. Steve Thompson, number 67 machine, currently running 7th on track. He is up 4 spots, and he's put down the fastest lap of the race so far with a 53.5. So Thompson started 11th, making early moves. I think that's going to be the name of the game here, is drivers able to use that traction they have at their disposal early on in the run, try and leapfrog up into a few positions to maybe click off some laps and just keep the tires underneath them and maybe try and get through the fuel stop. Rogers still out front, clicking them off. Here comes Steve Thompson. He's getting around the number 4 machine, Mike Schrader as well. Now for the points breakdown, you've got 2 Chevys out front with Rogers and Hess, and you've got Miata in 3rd, another Chevy in 4th, and then Patrick Milligan, your lone Ford Mustang, in the top 5. Looks like the racing's pretty calm and not having any issues out there, but he's playing it very, very safe, just clicking off the fuel run. Looks like a little bit further in the pack, you've got Dakota Pischke, the number 1 machine. He's chasing Pete Kopko, the number 3. Kopko is up 4 spots, up into 10th, starting 14th tonight, but making moves early on. As you're on board with Pischke right now as they get ready to head down the world-famous start-finish line, the Brickyard here at Indianapolis. This track so well known for the Indy 500, but also being used for MotoGP, a few select WERA and Moto America races, and a lot of different events using the entirety of the racetrack. But look at this, are we seeing Scales make a move on Pischke here? He looked to the inside just ever so slightly. Now this league is known for good, clean racing and long green flag runs, and we're looking to be in position for some more of those today. Last week there was no cautions at all for Watkins Glen, no incidents warranting a full course caution. As we take a look at Tom Ogle, the bright pink number 11 with Team Miata. He's chasing down Travis Rogers up front. Ogle's last time by a 54.37 compared to Rogers with a 54.42. But is Rogers going to keep the fuel underneath them and the tires underneath them? As Steve Thompson makes another move here, he's getting around Dwayne MacArthur in the number 97. Thompson currently up 7 spots so far here today. So charging hard despite not having the qualifying session that he wanted. Now everybody in a good position to shake things up with the points, because we have to go all the way back to 9th place to find Josh Robinson, number 23 machine. He's having issues here today. He's down 6 spots from where he started, so the current points leader not in a position that he really wanted so far in Indianapolis after coming off a recent win at Watkins Glen. So it's odd to see the number 23 machine this far back, really struggling with Indy so far here tonight, but it's a long race and still plenty of time to decide things both on pit strategy and early moves. Now Robinson could be fuel saving as well. We talked about how it'd be very, very hard to make this a one-stop race, but if there's any drivers willing to gamble on it, it would be Robinson, number 23 machine. A total pit lane time should be about 40 seconds to 50 seconds by the time they come on to pit road to the time they cross the final exit cones. Let's check on one of our highest placing rookies right now, Jess Vaught in the 118 machine, currently running 20th place. He's up 2 spots from where he started. He's currently chasing Hoskins in the bright, almost fluorescent green and yellow number 66 machine. So good to see the rookies out here charging hard, trying to meet those minimum or maximum incident points on their race license here for OBRL. Andrew Hess, the number 54 machine, clicking off laps in his Chevrolet. Dwayne MacArthur takes a quick peek to the inside of Steve Thompson, thinks better of it and said, no sir, we'll run nose to tail for a little while longer. As Tom Ogle, he is starting to pressure Rogers here. Ogle makes a dive to the inside of the number 72 machine. Rogers carrying a little bit more speed on the outside, but can Ogle make it stick and carry enough momentum? As it looks like Hess is going to get behind Ogle for a second, maybe trying to advance the number 11 machine up towards the front. It looks like the whole field is. They're going to go 3 wide here early on. Ogle is going to take over the race lead. Rogers is going to get shuffled back, but look at this. Here comes Steve Thompson, almost makes contact with Rogers. They're able to keep it pointing in the right direction. Now Thompson's going to take over second place. Rogers is going to get shuffled back to third. Andrew Hess in the number 54 machine. He's taking a look as well as Dwayne MacArthur, number 97. Everybody's taking their time deciding when they're going to make a move, but when they see somebody in front of them make one, they're going to try and catch a toe as well and advance their spots. Now, one thing we touch on every week, such clean racing from the OBRL crew. They have a maximum incident point per lap that they are expecting of their drivers. What that means, if you find yourself having a bad race, hey, no worries, it'll average out. But if you find yourself consistently having bad races, then maybe there's something else at play, as we watch Tom Ogle trying to break the draft of Steve Thompson and Travis Rogers here at Indy. So if you find yourself here at OBRL with too many incident points per lap, you can be awarded with a hardcore penalization, EOLs, or a parked car. So this is a league that really focuses on good, clean racing all season long, and we've definitely seen it with some fantastic green flag runs. As Tom Ogle once again doing everything in his power to break the draft, but is that going to allow Andrew Hess to push Travis Rogers further up front and get a bit of a run? As it is still Ogle, Thompson, Rogers, Hess, MacArthur, your top 5 out here today. Ogle, it always seems that technical tracks are kind of his strong suit, where he's able to get out front and really put on a show, as he's doing everything to break the draft of Thompson in second. Thompson really hitting his marks, the number 67 machine. And one thing to point out when you're listening to those onboards is the lack of tire squealing. Every time you hear a car kind of chirping those tires, it means they're burning up a little bit more rubber than they want, as here comes Andrew Hess. He's looking to the inside of Travis Rogers. Going to have to sit back and wait another lap to make it happen. Tom Ogle starting to get about a 0.7 second gap over second place Steve Thompson, but that's just going to allow for bigger runs as the three cars dive to the inside. I'm not sure how that's going to work as they swing back into position. Rogers with nowhere to go gets pinched by both Hess and Thompson. Now Hess is going to look to the inside as well, but things are getting a little bit heated in that top four spot. Everybody trying to find a dance partner and see where they can pick up a little bit of time. As now Hess will be the lone car on the inside line going side by side with MacArthur. MacArthur has a little bit more speed. He's right behind Rogers using that draft. Not sure if we're going to see anybody drop low here and make something happen, as it looks like Hess is going to be allowed to get back in line just ahead of Milligan and number 18 machine. Now this is allowing Tom Ogle ample opportunity to breathe in the bright pink White Claw sponsored number 11, as you're watching Andrew Hess try his best to use the bump from Patrick Milligan to clear MacArthur. MacArthur, a very tough driver to pass. All of these guys really in the top 10 are so talented and so experienced running next to each other. They know what they can get away with in their competition, and they know who to give a little bit more room to. As look at the gigantic game of Snake, our top 5 drivers are playing, trying to keep their friends in the draft. Or in Tom Ogle's case, trying to break the draft of their friends in competition to prevent those big runs we've seen here before. Lap times already starting to fall off. Ogle's last time by a 55.76 compared to his race best of a 53.87. Is anyone thinking about tire wear at this point in the race, or just happy for track position in case the caution does come out? A beautiful overhead shot here at Indianapolis showing just ever so slightly our 2nd through 5th place drivers. Dwayne MacArthur making a move as well, moving up into 3rd spot. Can he make it stick as he slides in front of Rogers? It looks like he's going to be able to make it happen. So now he's going to be chasing his friend Steve Thompson, as it is once again Toyota out front 1 and 2. Then you've got Chevrolet running 3rd through 5th before you cycle back to 6th and 7th, our highest placing Fords on the racetrack. Now right now Thompson and MacArthur running 2nd and 3rd. They are about a second back from race leader Tom Ogle. Are we going to see the two drivers work together to try and catch up to Ogle? Or is Thompson going to be on blocking duty to allow the other Toyota driver to stay out front? Behind him, you've got Rogers and Hess going side by side. Milligan, the number 18 machine, giving a hearty push to number 54 to try and get him up there. These drivers trying to make it a 2-for-1. Two guys working together to try and squeeze by Rogers as Hess drifts to the high line to use a little bit more draft from the competition in front of him. Are we going to see Milligan get by nice and clean? He's driving on the inside line, but he does not have the draft support. It looks like Milligan is going to get clear into the 5th place spot here. Rogers is a very talented racer. It seems he has great short run speed, but maybe not able to hold on to the tires as well as some of his competition as the run develops. So your pole setter has drifted back into 5th place here in the number 72 machine. But you've got to know that him and Titanium Everhart have been working together to get that strategy down for the season. So now your top 5 is Ogle, Thompson, MacArthur, Hess, Milligan. As MacArthur has rapidly caught his friend Steve Thompson. Thompson is up 9 spots so far here today, having a great run. Are we going to see these two drivers able to catch Tom Ogle, the bright pink number 11, running out front? He's got about a second advantage. But I think as you see Thompson, MacArthur, and Hess running single file like they are, that'll allow them to put down just ever so slightly faster lap times. We're going to see what they are the next time by, as maybe they're not so worried about battling each other now instead of catching Tom Ogle. Now let's see, Ogle clicked off at 56.24. He's about not a whole lot slower than the guys behind him. Thompson clicked off at 56.17. So Ogle has found a strategy up front, and he is sticking with it, not having any issues so far here today. As you're on board with Dwayne MacArthur on the roof cam of the number 97, the fastest Canadian on track. He is trying to stay in tow with Steve Thompson, while up front, Ogle doing everything in his power to break the draft, not allowing Thompson to catch up if possible. With the number 67 of Thompson and the number 97 of MacArthur that have the most to gain by running single file and maybe catching up to the race leader. And something else to think of is, how is pit strategy going to affect things here today, as it just takes one speeding penalty to get back all the way back, as we see Kelly Cool, number 117, cycle out of pit lane after a 5-minute pit stop. Not sure what happened there. Man, look how bunched up the field is getting from 2nd to 7th place back. Here comes Dwayne MacArthur looking at the inside of Steve Thompson. He's going to make it stick nice and clean. Thompson yields the position unchallenged. So drivers may be communicating, going, all right, maybe you lead for a little bit. Let's see if we can catch Ogle. Ogle has a 1.3 second advantage. Oh no, Thompson with a huge hit into the wall. Oh no, a massive crash. Steve Thompson, heavy damage on the number 67 machine. Oh my goodness. What a spectacular hit. That is something we are not used to seeing out of Thompson. We're going to take an instant replay here. The Metro Ford sponsored slow motion, as Thompson drifts out high coming out of 4. And then look at this. This is about to get very, very bad for the number 67 Toyota driver, as he's going to try and save it, but oh, nowhere to go. And a massive hit. Oh, look at the airtime that Thompson gets. Thompson just having to sit there and collect himself after that was one of the most spectacular crashes we've seen all season long. We're going to see if we can get Thompson up in the booth and maybe get a reporter down on the pit lane to see what might have happened there. But that was such a spectacular hit, something we are not used to seeing here at all. Tom Ogle still out front, Dwayne MacArthur second, Andrew Hess third, Patrick Milligan's moved up to 4th, Josh Robinson, your current points leader, is in 5th. Man, what an exciting start to tonight, as we see a good driver have to retire to the hauler very early on here. So now it's going to be Dwayne MacArthur leading the charge for second place back, trying to whittle away at that 1.4 second gap that Tom Ogle, the number 11 machine, has. Ogle's got something sorted out, and he's got it made so far, as that big incident caused the second pack to check up a little bit. Everybody kind of in awe at what they just saw. We've got about an estimated 10 more laps until the fuel window opens for these drivers. As Travis Rogers yields 2 spots to Pischke and Cocoa Puffs. So still a lot of great racing happening on all across the racetrack. Now let's keep an eye on Josh Robinson, our points leader. The number 23 machine did not have the qualifying or the initial start that he wanted, but he's worked his way back up to 5th place. At one point, he was 9 positions down from where he started. So Robinson still charging hard, trying to work his way back up front. As this late in the run, drivers are almost 3 seconds off their best lap times of the night. Patrick Milligan doing a great job in 4th place. He's up 2 spots from where he started, trying to score some much-needed points, 4-4, to whittle away at the gap that both Chevrolet and Toyota currently have on the Ford manufacturer. Up front, it's still Tom Ogle doing his best to break the draft of everybody behind him. Dwayne MacArthur looks to the low line as well. Andrew Hess, Patrick Milligan, Josh Robinson all running up very close, trying just to catch up to the guys in front of them. But at this point in the race, there's not a lot of tire wear left to try and make something happen. Brian Lynch just getting passed by Al Turner, the number 76 machine. Turner currently 12th on track. He has moved up 5 spots so far here this evening. This late in the run, this is where we're going to see tire wear and tire conservation really become a factor of who's able to hold on to it just a little bit better. As the lap times are starting to drop off like rocks. Everybody about 3 seconds off their best pace of the night. But Dwayne MacArthur is starting to catch Tom Ogle up front. He's whittled away that 1.4 second gap down to 0.5 seconds. But which of these fast drivers out front have kept a little bit of tire wear in reserve? Is it Ogle, who's been out front fairly most of the race so far? Is it MacArthur, who's been kind of watching to see what the race leader's doing and maybe taking a couple notes on how to get faster as they weave all across the racetrack? Now what that's going to do is slow down both of these drivers, allowing Andrew Hess, number 54 machine, to get in the mix as they dive into turn 1 here at Indianapolis. Such a flat raceway, not a lot of banking compared to the typical NASCAR track. As it is Ogle, MacArthur, Hess, Milligan, Robinson, your top 5 here today. Everybody chasing the bright pink number 11 Team Miata, Tom Ogle. Getting ready to start lap 30 again. The estimated pit window is between lap 35 and 40 for these drivers. But are we going to see some short stops and maybe some planned early entrances to try and get some fresh rubbers on there? Or are we going to see anybody try and fuel save till the end? It's scheduled for about an hour-long race, and these drivers are right on track for that, as we have not seen any cautions come out despite the huge hit we saw from Steve Thompson. Since that car landed in pit road from orbit, it was not deemed a race incident or an incident on track that warranted a caution, which could have really changed things up for the pit cycle here today. So out of 26 drivers that started, we still have 25 out on track here today. And I am probably going to mess this up, so I apologize in advance, but we've got Adir Tamani rooting for Dakota Pischke out on track. Pischke currently running 8th in the number 1 machine. He has moved up 5 spots so far this race, and he finds himself about 2.67 seconds back from 7th place Pete Kopko Cocoa Puffs. So good to see Pischke out there running strong in the number 1 Monster Energy backed Toyota Camry. But he's got a lot of pressure from Scales here right now, as Scales looks to the inside line to try and take over that 8th place position. Dwayne MacArthur, he's in second on track, accompanied by Andrew Hess, still trying to chase the race leader, Tom Ogle. Ogle has about a 0.4 second advantage over the second place driver. Behind MacArthur and Hess, you've got Milligan and Robinson, 2 very fast drivers that are used to being up front, charging hard. But with an estimated 3 laps before, oh, look at that, they're coming in early. Dwayne MacArthur and Patrick Milligan gonna bring it into pit lane. That's going to be very interesting. So maybe these 2 drivers know something that we don't. So this is going to be very interesting, as it appears no other drivers, Travis Rogers and Gary Kipper also came in behind Dwayne MacArthur and Patrick Milligan. So are these guys planning on a 3-stop race here today, or what is the strategy? So this is going to be very, very interesting. How long are we going to see Ogle and Hess stay out before they come in for their pit stop? Are we going to see these guys try and stretch it out on fuel a little bit? Again, we were talking to the drivers, and the estimated fuel window was 35 to 40. Is it going to be worth it for some of these drivers to make it a planned 3-stop race? Now, when I say planned 3 stops, I mean kind of spread out throughout the course of the race. So if they're coming on lap 33 or so, that means their next pit stop will be on lap 67 or 70, able to stretch it out some. As that is one of the more interesting things here for the OBRL Metro Ford Cup Series. Its pit strategy is Brian Lynch, Hoskins, Everhart, Westerfield, Bott all come into pit lane. Now MacArthur and Milligan, the two drivers that came in first on that pit cycle, they find themselves 11th and 12th, still on the lead lap. And the total pit time for these drivers was about 50.6 seconds by the time they hit the first cones at pit entry to the time they left the exit cones. Now with a lap time averaging about 56 for the leaders right now, that can put you almost a lap down, but just barely in front of the race leaders. But when are we going to see Ogle and Hess bring it in? As here comes Travis Rogers trying to get his lap back, number 72 machine. He's accompanied by Al Turner, number 76 machine as well. So both those drivers getting ready to catch Thomas Ogle with new tires and get their lap back working together. Now this is where things can get very, very exciting. If you've got drivers with brand new tires and drivers on much older tires coming out here intermingling, the lap times can be about 3 seconds difference between the two. Kopko bringing into pit lane. Warsdell coming into pit lane as well. Your currently previous 4th and 5th place drivers are going to start their pit cycle. And look at the weaving all across the racetrack, as it is quite the intermingled group of drivers on new tires getting around the race leader, Tom Ogle, because in front of him it looks like an absolute hornet's nest. Ogle has to be very, very careful here. He cannot find himself in any damage or incident with other drivers that are coming out on fresh tires. Ogle's last time by, again, about 3 seconds off his race-setting best time. He did a 56.71 his last time by. But will he be able to use the draft of his competition and lap down cars to maybe pull himself up just a little bit further and faster? Now we are not quite at the halfway mark, but the drivers have done a good job keeping it clean and green, as now Tom Ogle will bring it into pit lane for the first time here today at Indianapolis. Josh Robinson's going to follow him. Andrew Hess stays out in the number 54 machine. So this is going to be very interesting to see what the pit stop strategy plays out for these drivers. As the only drivers on track that have not pitted, I believe, is Andrew Hess, the number 54 machine, Jonathan Green, and the number 37 machine, are two drivers that have not pitted at all so far here today. Maybe trying to stretch it out and save their fresh tires for the end of the race when it's going to be a final dash to the finish line. Now Hess, your race leader, he's got about a 30-second advantage over second place Dwayne MacArthur. MacArthur came in on lap 32, as well as Patrick Milligan, two of the first cars to make their way down pit road for their planned fuel stop. Hess last time by with a 56.53. His best of the race was a 53.91. But how long are we going to see Hess hang out there in the number 54 Chevrolet to stay out, get some laps led, maybe pad the resume? And again, the longer he stays out now, that means the shorter his stop will have to be later on in the race, as Hess is going to bring it into pit lane here. As Jonathan Green has came in the lap prior, so everybody on track now has pitted. So Dwayne MacArthur, he's going to be the race leader once he makes his way by Hess, who will be on pit road for quite a while longer. Behind MacArthur, you also have Patrick Milligan. Mike Schrader making his way up into the top 5. Tom Ogle is going to be in 5th place, possibly 4th, depending on where the pit cycle allows these drivers to come around. As Dwayne MacArthur will take over the race lead in the number 97 machine. Patrick Milligan will move up to second. Mike Schrader moves up to third. Schrader came in a lap 33 as well. But how fast is Hess going to be coming out with 7-lap newer tires in the competition? So if we stay on the same strategy, you can expect to see MacArthur and Milligan to come in around that lap 64, 65 mark. Only one driver able to hold it on to the very end. That was going to be Hess for the longest pit stop. He stayed out 39 laps to keep those wheels rolling, trying to extend the lead just a little bit. But let's see how that's going to work for the other drivers out on track. Travis Rogers, the number 72 machine. He set pole here tonight, currently finds himself 8th on track. A very talented short run driver, just not able to get the fuel conservation that he really wanted out of the number 72, the tire conservation out of the number 72. But he is catching up to Andrew Hess in front of him, the number 54 machine, only about really not a whole lot of time separating the two, but now he's also got Al Turner up in the mix as well in the number 76 machine. So good to see Rogers still out there charging hard. Al Turner in the number 76, he is up 10 spots so far here tonight. Still making big moves. Are we going to see Tom Ogle, currently 4th on track in the number 11 machine? He was leading a large portion of the race before he came in for his pit cycle on lap 37. Are we going to see him be able to catch back up to the likes of Mike Schrader, Patrick Milligan, and Dwayne MacArthur, your current top 3? As fuel and tire conversation is absolutely the name of the game here today. Everybody trying to keep the tires underneath them. Now, Ogle clicked off a 54.5 his last time by, while race leader Dwayne MacArthur clicked off a 55.24. So 7/10 of a lap faster coming out on those newer tires, but how long will we be able to hold on to it? Or are we going to see the strategy of MacArthur and Milligan running first and second pay off here towards the end? Now Milligan with 21 starts, he's very consistent. He's got 17 top 10s, 11 top 5s, and 4 poles so far, 4 wins so far this season, with a win percentage of 19%. His average start is about 9th, and his average finish is about 6th, so it's always great seeing him out there, especially on the tracks that really click with him, as he is staying glued to MacArthur, running just about 2 car lengths back from the number 97, your race leader. Milligan, the man behind the scenes with Metro Ford. Always great to see him running out front. Then you've got Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian, out front with Last Ditch Racing. The number 97 machine, he's up front a lot this season as well. When he's not found himself involved in incidents, you can expect to find him in the top 3, as he is second in points. Now MacArthur, he is up front a lot with 14 top 5s this season, but he only has 1 win under his belt so far, so a 4.35% win average here. But he is a very, very clean driver. He has less than 1 incident per race, and he averages less than .006 incidents per lap. So MacArthur, number 97, he's been a consistent top 5 finisher all season long, and he's been consistently safe, and that is the name of the game for championships. Having that car up there at the end of the night, even if it's not a top 3, just a consistent top 5 in almost every race will allow you to find yourself a second in points as MacArthur. As the number 97 machine just clicking him off, making it look easy. Let's see what his lap time is this time by as they cross the world famous bricks. He clicks off at 55.52 compared to Milligan with a 55.65. Meanwhile, you've got Tom Ogle battling with Mike Schrader. Ogle really finding some pace here. He's about 1 second of a lap faster than your current top 2, as well as Mike Schrader, who just got bumped down to 4th. Ogle clicked off at 54.61 his last time by. So the new tires really helping him out. But what is the pit strategy going to be here tonight? Are we going to see MacArthur and Milligan come in on lap 65 or so here today? Or are they going to try and stretch it out as Ogle has a whole lot of speed right now? Now, Ogle came in on lap 37. So that means he shouldn't have to pit till about 64 or so if he keeps his same strategy. No, excuse me, 74. So we know everybody's going to have to make 3 stops here tonight, but who's going to be able to make it last the longest? Up front, it's still MacArthur and Milligan running nose to tail, just clicking them off, getting through their fuel cycle together. Ahead of them, lap traffic that they're not going to have to contend with for a while. You can see at the top of your screen, that's the bright pink of Tom Ogle making his way up. He's about 7.6 seconds back from your lead pack of MacArthur and Milligan. And last time by, Ogle was only about a half second a lap faster than your current 2 pace setters, Dwayne MacArthur, Patrick Milligan. A lot of clean racing as we approach the halfway mark here today. We've went caution-free so far today. Let's watch the current battle for 14th. This is Lee Warsdale, the number 99 Toyota. He's chasing Gary Kipper in the number 68 machine. Warsdale was a little bit faster than Kipper that last time by, about 0.2 of a lap faster. But that's the fun part about racing here at the OBRL Metro Ford Cup Series. This is the premier series here for OBRL. It allows great racing all across the racetrack, so even if you're not in that podium contention, you find yourself 10th, 15th, 20th. There are so many talented drivers out here, and the skill set is so, I guess, close across the board. It allows you, no matter where you're at, usually to have something to do, somebody to race, and a carrot to chase. As you're watching Warsdale try and catch up to Kipper in the number 68 machine. Kipper, he is up 2 spots from his original starting position. And he's out there making it, just clicking off laps, not having any issues. Another great race on track right now is Hastings, the number 32, the Tide machine. He is chasing Hoskins in the number 66 Ford Mustang. This is the battle for 17th on track. So like we just said, doesn't matter where you're at on track, there's always something going on. But we have passed the halfway mark here today. It is still MacArthur out front, Milligan second, Ogle third, Robinson fourth, Andrew Hess makes up our top 5. Now again, we're expecting MacArthur and Milligan, if they stay on their same fuel strategy, to come in around the lap 64 mark. while we know Tom Ogle and Josh Robinson can stay out till around the lap 74 mark. So who's going to come in a little bit early and who's going to try and stay out late so they have the fastest car on track for that final run. And that is where things are going to really shake up, because you have guys on very different tire strategies here today. As Ogle, he's about 6 seconds back from this lead pack, and he's gained about 4/10 of a lap each and every lap, catching up to MacArthur and Milligan. Now, if we're doing my math right up here in the broadcast booth, at about 15 laps, if Ogle can maintain his same pace, that is when he should catch Milligan and MacArthur. But at that point, you may see MacArthur and Milligan coming into pit lane as it stands, so it's going to be very interesting to see how things shake up. As MacArthur cutting through lap traffic ahead of him, not having any issue. Everybody's the utmost professional here at the OBRL Metro Ford Cup Series. So doing their best to yield the preferred racing line whenever they have the opportunity to the race leaders. Now it's going to have Milligan falling back by about 0.4 seconds, not able to cut through traffic quite as cleanly as MacArthur. As just behind, you can see the bright pink weapon, the number 11 machine, Tom Ogle, starting to catch up. He's down to about a 5.5 second gap. But are we going to see MacArthur and Milligan come in before then? As we know, Ogle will be able to stay out at least 5 extra laps from our competition, running up front 1 and 2, MacArthur and Milligan up front. We're going to cycle a little bit further back. This is the battle for 10th on track right now. It is Brian Lynch in the number 15 machine chasing Greg McDaniel in the number 30 machine. Brian Lynch, he's about 2 spots down from where he started today. Behind him, he's got Pete Kopko and Travis Rogers running in tow as well. So a lot of fast guys all looking for that top 10 finish today. Now, with such a talented field, a top 10 finish is a true accomplishment for some of these guys, as they are happy to get up there in the show and maybe make something happen for the first time. Now Lynch currently 12th in points. He should be comfortably here within the bubble here for the chase, but he knows, hey, let's keep it up there. This is another one of those drivers with 19 starts, still looking for a first win. His average finish is around the 16th place mark, so a top 10 for this for Brian Lynch would be absolutely huge, as his record so far this season was 4 top 10s. The last time we saw him inside top 10 was June 6th at Sonoma, where he was able to start 8th and finish 8th. Keep an eye on Kopko, the number 3 machine, the veteran driver out there. Not at all unfamiliar with sim racing and making moves. So good to see Kopko up there trying to charge hard. He's looking for both that 11th and 10th place spot, currently owned by Brian Lynch and Greg McDaniel, that are running nose to tail. Kopko has found a little bit of speed here, and he's trying to make something happen. Now Pete, he's 13th in the points as well, 19 starts. He's got 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and is also looking for a first win here for the OBRL Metro Ford Cup Series. As look at this, we've got a little bit of action shaking up. Lynch trying to make a move on McDaniel. Looks like he's going to make it stick, but here comes Kopko as well. He's going to try and capitalize and try and also get around McDaniel. Looks like he's going to make it stick, slides up just in front of him. But are we going to see Kopko make a move on Lynch now and secure that top 10 spot? All these guys looking for some of their best finishes so far of this season. As the last time we saw Kopko on the podium was at New Hampshire, the very tricky racetrack where he was able to secure a 3rd place in the number 3 machine. And I believe that was his only podium so far of this season. So doing his best to stay out there, charge hard, but let's see, can he make a move on Brian Lynch for the 10th place spot? Kopko looks high, Lynch goes low. They're going to slide back single file for just a little while longer to try and get some momentum here. But great racing all across the racetrack. Kopko looking to the inside. Looks like he's going to get clear of Brian Lynch coming out turn 4 on the start-finish line straight. And he's also going to get picked up from Greg McDaniel, trying to get a little draft support, seeing where he wants to go. But they're side by side, crossing the Brickyard. Kopko's going to have the inside line once more going into turn 1. And let's see if he slides up in front of Lynch. It looks like he does. Good, clean, hard racing here. The battle for 10th really heating up. Kopko's up 4 spots from where he started tonight. He's still about 5 seconds back from 9th place, Dakota Pischke. What paint scheme is Kopko running out there today? See if we can find a nice tight angle on it. It looked like it had kittens. Not able to get the camera angle. We really wanted to see what on earth Kopko has painted on that number 3 machine. And Kopko, one of many drivers running a Gary Corbett decal on the hood or elsewhere on their car, paying homage to their friend and fellow OBRL racer that unfortunately passed away due to cancer. So you'll see that on several different drivers out there. I know Kopko runs it every week. Steve Thompson, number 67, also has it on there. And I'm sure several other drivers that I'm not used to or haven't noticed it on their machines yet. I believe Kopko has a kitten on the back of his race car. Let's see if we can get Greg McDaniel, number 30 machine, to catch up to Kopko and give us that bird's eye view as they run single file down the start-finish line straight. But Kopko has extended that gap to about 0.5 seconds. Are we going to see Greg McDaniel get back up there and challenge for that 10th place spot? Or is Kopko going to be able to hold on to it and not have any issues? Meanwhile, up front, you've got Tom Ogle starting to still catch up to Dwayne MacArthur and Patrick Milligan. It's about a 4-second gap before Ogle catches up to Milligan. He's been about a quarter of a second faster per lap the last few times by. But 40 laps left to go. We know the fuel window is going to open again for MacArthur and Milligan in the next 4 to 5 laps, while Ogle will be able to stay out an extra 5 laps from his competition. About half a straightaway separates Tom Ogle in third from MacArthur and Milligan running 1 and 2. Now Milligan, he came in a lap 32 with MacArthur, while Ogle, Robinson, they came in a lap 37. And here comes Andrew Hess as well, number 54 machine, currently 5th on track. He came in on lap 39, the last race car to come in. Really stretching out the fuel here. Up front, it's still MacArthur in the top spot, Milligan in second. These guys are running identical paces. They're only about 1/10 of a lap slower than Ogle his last time by. So as the tire wear starts to drop off for everybody, the tires here like to plateau for a little while. You kind of get slower, you get slower, it flattens off for a while. And then once the tires really are worn out, it drops like an anchor. But MacArthur and Milligan doing a good job keeping the tires underneath them, not having any big worries so far. But when are we going to see these top two drivers come into pit lane? It's Chevrolet out front with MacArthur, Ford in second with Milligan. Then you've got Toyota running third and fourth with Ogle and Robinson. These guys have been running single file, keeping it nice and clean all night long, not having any issues. We've got another fan join us for Dakota Pischke, giving him some love. Pischke currently 8th on track, up 5 spots in the number 1 machine. Now Pischke's on a very similar tire strategy as the race leaders Dwayne MacArthur and Patrick Milligan, who have about a 24-second advantage over Pischke in the number 1. But how long are we going to see Dakota stay out for here today? Or is he going to try and come in on the same strategy as the race leaders MacArthur and Milligan? Now, a lot of different tire strategies out there today. Going to be interesting to see how long everyone stays out for and who makes it through the cleanest. Josh Robinson, the baby blue number 23 machine. He's got a lap car in front of him before he can catch Tom Ogle, the number 11. Robinson is down 1 spot from where he started today, but Robinson as well is your current points leader coming into tonight, and the race winner, leader and winner from last week of Watkins Glen. So always interesting to see what the strategy is among some of the professional drivers here at OVRL for the Metro Ford Cup Series. And speaking of, if you're looking for a new pickup truck here in the United States, check them out, emetroford.com. They've got the biggest selection of trucks and used vehicles that you can find, and Patrick Milligan will get you financed. So check them out. Tonight's sponsor, emetroford.com. We thank those guys greatly for putting on this show and sponsoring this season, and we couldn't do it without them. So check them out, eMetroFord. Josh Robinson looks to the inside of lap traffic. That's going to be, I believe, the number 118 machine, Jess Vaught, one of the rookies out here for OVRL. Again, if you're just tuning in, anybody with a 3-digit number is designated as a rookie for the Metro Ford Cup Series, meaning they have not met the minimum race requirement to get a 2-digit number assigned to them. One of the best series to call their events for. It's always good, clean racing as these guys put on very long, not super long, about hour-long races, barring any cautions, but they're able to click them off so clean all the way through. As Dwayne MacArthur, Patrick Milligan have come into pit lane on lap 66. Now it's going to allow Ogle to take over first, Robinson second, Andrew Hess third, Mike Schrader also coming into pit lane. So it'll once again be Ogle in the bright pink number 11 Toyota Camry out front, clicking him off. Behind him, Josh Robinson. Now these guys can go all the way to lap 74 on fuel if their previous pit stop is any indication. A little bit of smoke and some drivers having issues getting onto pit lane, but so far everybody doing a good job keeping it clean and green and pointed in the right direction. Now after this pit cycle, MacArthur and Milligan are going to come out about 8th and 9th on track, as now we see Scales, McDaniel, and Lynch coming into pit lane, as well as Hoskins, Hastings, a lot of drivers coming to pit lane. So that's going to allow MacArthur and Milligan to move back up to 6th and 7th, the two drivers we've seen pushing together all night long. But how is pit strategy going to really affect people here today? Man, there's a whole lot of smoke on pit lane. And again, this is where things get the most exciting. Once you have drivers out there on varying tires, you'll have some drivers that have been up front all night long coming out, putting down blistering fast lap times, while the top 5 on track are on substantially older tires. Then you've got 6th and 7th place MacArthur and Milligan coming on lap 65. They're going to be coming out and putting down some really, really hot lap times here. Now these guys are about 37 seconds back from race leader Tom Ogle. Now coming in on lap 65, they should be able to make it till the end on tires, but will they have fast enough cars at the end to keep pushing hard? That way when Ogle, Robinson, Hess finally cycle in and out and grab their tires, they should be very, very fast. So once that cycle completes, are guys like MacArthur and Milligan going to have enough speed at the very end to hold them off and possibly win it on pit strategy? Up front, it is Ogle, Robinson, Hess running single file. They've got a 30-second advantage over 4th place Pete Kopko. Now every lap that Ogle, Robinson, and Hess stay out is going to put them at a better advantage to come out with the freshest tires to their ability for the final run. Well, this is going to be quite the interesting shakeup. I'm not sure if we're going to see Ogle, Robinson, or Hess really battle it all here. They've got an estimated about 4 to 5 laps left on their fuel window based on their previous pit stop. Ogle's last time by, worn out tires of 56.28. If you compare him to Dwayne MacArthur coming out on fresh tires, MacArthur put down a 54.01 his last time by, while Milligan on the same tire set as MacArthur clicked off a 53.94. So that should be some sort of indicator of how much of a gap that MacArthur and Milligan are going to have to put on the likes of Ogle, Robinson, and Hess once these three drivers, your top 3, finally come into pit lane. There's about 29 laps left in the race. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen here. As a broadcaster and fellow racer, I do love good green flag races. Allow these guys to show their ability both on and off the track. So we know how fast they are going fast and turning left, or in the case of road courses, they mix in some right-handers as well. But now with the green flag runs, it allows these guys to show who can develop the strategy, work with their teammates as well, and figure out what the best plan is to keep those lap times the lowest overall throughout the race. As the number 8 machine of Scales, he came in on lap 66, is going to try and get his lap back from the race leaders. Thinking, hey, if there is a late run caution, I want to be on the lead lap here. And cycle back to Scales, who's going to make a move on the inside of race leader Thomas Ogle. Ogle's going to yield the position, not wanting to get caught up in any lap traffic. He knows these guys are coming out with fresh sets of tires. He just needs to keep pointing in the right direction. and not lose any lap time getting involved with these guys, because Dwayne MacArthur and Patrick Milligan are still charging hard in 4th and 5th. Now MacArthur and Milligan are about 28 seconds back. The pit lane time is about 50 seconds back. So if we're doing our math right, once the pit cycles finally play out, that should put MacArthur and Milligan about 22 seconds ahead of Tom Ogle, Robinson, and Andrew Hess, your top 3 drivers. Is that going to give enough time for Ogle, Robinson, and Hess to get back up through the field with this final pit stop? And when are we going to see these top 3 drivers finally make their way onto pit road? Last time they came in was 37 for Ogle, and lap 37 for Ogle and Robinson. Andrew Hess was able to stretch it out a little bit further till lap 39. Now I don't know if Hess is going to hang it out further than he needs to here today, or if we're going to see him come in with Ogle and Robinson. Now, are we going to see these guys come into pit lane this time by, or are they going to try and stretch it out a little bit further? MacArthur's been gaining a lot of speed. He's down to a 25-second gap. So at this point, the longer Ogle, Robinson, and Hess stay out, the bigger disadvantage they'll have over MacArthur, unless they're really planning on hot lapping the entire time. Because MacArthur, he's about 2 seconds faster than your top 3 drivers right now, while he is in 4th place. There we go. Ogle and Robinson going to bring it into pit lane. Andrew Hess stays out. Now this is where things are about to get exciting. MacArthur and Patrick have to keep their nose clean and keep clicking off good green flag laps. Because once Ogle and Robinson come out of pit lane, they're going to be blistering fast on that fresh set of tires. It is 26 laps left to go here at Indianapolis, and it might be decided on pit strategy for all of our competitors. So up front now, it's going to be Andrew Hess. He's got a 22-second gap over 2nd place Dwayne MacArthur and Patrick Milligan, who are running nose to tail. But Andrew Hess, he's going to have to come in the next few laps for his final pit stop of the night. Tom Ogle, Mike Schrader, and Josh Robinson, they come out of pit lane about 20 seconds back from Dwayne MacArthur and Patrick Milligan. Now with 25 laps left to go, does MacArthur and Milligan have the tires to keep it underneath them? Because if Ogle and Schrader are able to stay a second of a lap faster than the 2nd and 3rd place driver, they should be able to catch him at the very end. MacArthur and Milligan cutting through traffic here. Still about an 18-second gap over Tom Ogle. But I'm looking forward to seeing what the lap times are going to be as they all cross the start-finish line, the Brickyard here at Indianapolis. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. Ogle is starting to put down some hot laps. He drops the fastest lap of the race, the 2nd fastest lap of the race. Ogle clicked off at 53.86, or excuse me, a personal fastest lap. He clicked off his personal best with 53.86. Meanwhile, Robinson also clicked off a personal best of 53.72. So these guys are charging hard and early, trying to catch up. Are they going to be able to cut through the field and catch up to MacArthur and Milligan? Andrew Hess still out front, has not pitted yet. It's 23 laps remaining. Ogle and Robinson are going to be gaining a whole lot of time very quickly here, as they're consistently almost 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds faster than MacArthur and Milligan. Andrew Hess, your race leader, he's coming into pit lane for his final pit stop of the night. So this is the story developing. Is Dwayne MacArthur and Patrick Milligan going to be able to stretch it out to the very end as they take over the race lead with 22 laps left to go? Or is Tom Ogle, who is driving the wheels off that number 11 machine, going to be able to catch up and capitalize on pit stop? Now, in theory, it should only take Ogle and Robinson about 9 more laps at their current pace to catch up to MacArthur and Milligan, who have been charging hard. Two different pit strategies developing. It looks like Ogle and Robinson went for the overcut compared to MacArthur and Milligan, who are on about a 32, 33 lap pit strategy. 21 laps left to go. MacArthur clicks off a 55.72. Milligan with a 55.64. Meanwhile, you've got Tom Ogle, who had clicked off a 54.16 his last time by, and Josh Robinson with a 53 or a 54 flat that last time by. It was Ogle with a 53.97. So Robinson and Ogle going to stay linked up nose to tail here in the two Toyotas with 21 laps left to go, trying to whittle away at that gap to Patrick Milligan and Dwayne MacArthur. It looks like they should be able to make it happen here with enough laps remaining left in the race. "20 laps left to go." It's now an 11-second gap between Josh Robinson in fourth, accompanied by Tom Ogle, who's just in front of him, to Patrick Milligan second on track. Now, MacArthur and Milligan have worked hard together all night long, but they may find themselves in the next 5-6 laps being a little bit less polite and maybe battling for that final podium spot, because Ogle and Robinson hypothetically should have the speed to catch up to the two race leaders. In the next 7 laps, I believe, is when we might see it happen, as they are about 1.5 seconds faster than the race leaders. It is now less than 9 seconds separates Ogle and Milligan. Milligan in second, Ogle in third. 19 laps left to go. These guys are pushing very, very hard. Ogle and Robinson have been working hard together all night long, really working on pit strategy, and it seems to be paying off for the two Toyota drivers, as they are rapidly approaching the Chevrolet out front of Dwayne MacArthur and the Ford Mustang of Patrick Milligan running second. It is now down to an 8.4 second gap. Tom Ogle, the number 11. Josh Robinson and the number 23. Both Team Miata drivers working together, trying to develop some strategy here, and it seems to be working well for the two compadres, as they have now whittled down that gap to 7.83 seconds to Patrick Milligan. But lap traffic may come into play here, as there is a whole lot of it. Robinson swings wide to maybe pick up the draft of the number 72 machine, Travis Rogers, before getting back in line. No, he does not get in line. There he goes, tucking in behind his teammate of Ogle. Now, I believe that might be Jim Westerfield right in front of him. Or is that Randy Bott? I believe that's Bott, number 169 machine, giving the line to your third and fourth place driver. So well done to him, trying to get the preferred line when able. Now it is a 7-second gap between Ogle and Milligan. 17 laps left to go, as MacArthur and Milligan have fallen off the pace just a bit up front. Not sure if that's due to lap traffic they've had to contend with, or just the tire wear really coming into play here. They've got just about 20 laps on this set of tires, and they've got to make it last another 17. Because they've got to know, they've got to be talking to their crew chiefs and teammates saying, oh boy, Ogle and Robinson are charging hard here. It is a less than a 7-second gap between your race leaders in the second pack of Ogle and Robinson. The two Team Miata drivers pushing hard, trying to get up front. MacArthur, his last time by, a 55.96. Milligan with a 55.92. They are still about a second slower a lap than Tom Ogle in the number 11 Toyota Camry, racing for Team Miata. 5.6 separates our two packs of drivers right here. Let's see if we can grab you a wide angle shot to maybe see what that looks like on the big screen. Not quite able to see Ogle and Robinson in view here yet. Will MacArthur and Milligan have any tire left in reserve to fend off Ogle and Robinson? And both of these drivers have been up front all night long, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. 15 laps left to go. MacArthur with a 55.96, Milligan with a 56.23. Meanwhile, just a little short ways back, Ogle clicked off another 55.09, trying to pull himself up to these race leaders. He finds himself about 4.8 seconds back. Now, at this point in the run, Ogle is also going to have tires falling off, even though he came in 9 laps later than MacArthur and Milligan. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see what can happen here. Because you know MacArthur and Milligan are going to do their best to fend off the two Toyotas, trying to extend their gap just a little bit, score some much-needed points for their manufacturers. Because, again, it is Toyota out front with Chevy in second and Ford in third. But look at that, just out the top of your screen. That was Tom Ogle and Josh Robinson running single file, trying to catch up to MacArthur and Milligan. MacArthur out front. Now he's got a little bit of lap traffic to contend with. Ogle still about 4.3 seconds back, not making as much ground this late in the run as tire wear becomes a factor. Let's see what the lap time show as they cross the start-finish line. As, oh my, what a bunch of traffic in front of MacArthur that could possibly slow him down. MacArthur with a 56-second flat lap time. Milligan with a 55.98. Ogle and Robinson were anywhere between 4/10 of a second to a half second faster as Ogle clicked off a 55.52. Robinson with a 55.40. With 13 laps left to go, what is going to happen here is MacArthur trying to cut through lap traffic. The number 35 machine of Jim Westerfield yielding the line. Patrick Milligan following in suit as well. Oh, this is going to be exciting. We're going to cycle back to Josh Robinson, Tom Ogle. They're about 3.8 seconds back from Patrick Milligan with 13 laps left to go. Are they going to have enough laps to make something happen here? Robinson and Ogle doing their best to catch up. They have not gained as much time as they would have hoped in this fuel run as their tire wear starts to fall off as well. That last time by, they were only a quarter of a second faster than Milligan, but they were about a half second faster than current race leader Dwayne MacArthur. 12 laps left to go. Are we going to see Ogle and Robinson make a final push for it? Or is their tire wear going to fall off as well? And it's going to be a battle of slow cars just trying to go fast. Three seconds separates Tom Ogle, the number 11 machine, currently third on track, to second place Patrick Milligan. Now Ogle's pace has fallen off quite a bit as well as last time by, 55.69 compared to Milligan's 56.08. So there's still time to be made and a lot of laps left to do it, but man, is it going to be close towards the end. I predict it'll be about 2 laps left to go before we see these guys catch up to each other fully. Ten laps left to go here in Indianapolis. Everybody trying to catch up and make something happen in the closing laps. 2.6 seconds separates a third place Tom Ogle and a second place Patrick Milligan. As a reminder, Milligan and MacArthur, they came in on lap 65 compared to Ogle and Robinson, who came in on lap 74. So that is what 9 laps of difference will do at the end of a long run, allowing these guys to catch up. As now MacArthur and Milligan are both over the 56-second lap times, as they do a 56.33 for MacArthur and a 56.14 for Milligan. Meanwhile, Ogle scored as a 55.68 with Robinson a 55.73 second lap time their last time by. It is 2.5 seconds that separates our race leaders. Let's see what the times update here. That's pretty much everybody in the 56-second lap times now. Ogle and Robinson over 0.3 of a lap faster than your race leaders MacArthur and Milligan. 9 laps left to go. 2.3 second gap separates our front pack and our second pack. As Ogle and Robinson are going to be charging hard, using every amount of tire traction left. They're going to come around the number 32 machine. That is going to be John Hastings going another lap down. Hastings currently running 15th on track. He is still up 9 positions. And Hastings actually your current hard charger of the race so far. Up 9 positions, working his way up into 15th after starting 24th here today. Eight laps left to go. Robinson and Ogle not putting down the lap times they wanted that time by. They're only 1/10 of a second faster than MacArthur and Milligan that last time by, having to contend with lap traffic. Do they have the tires here for the end? Or can Dwayne MacArthur and Milligan pull off the 1-2 combo, able to keep those tires underneath them in this final run? It's 8 laps left to go. Michelle's in the grandstands as well. She's cheering on Pischke. Pischke currently running 11th on track. He is right behind Brian Lynch in the number 15 machine. So Pischke in a great opportunity here to maybe catch up to Lynch and score that top 10 spot, because McDaniel and Lynch are going to be battling hard as well. But with 7 laps left to go, the story of the night is, are we going to see Josh Robinson catch up to Patrick Milligan? He's worked his way around Tom Ogle, and he is rapidly charging hard up to Patrick Milligan. Milligan's fallen off the pace here, not getting through lap traffic quite as quickly. Here comes Josh Robinson, number 23 machine. Dwayne MacArthur still out front. Lap traffic coming into effect. Some drivers not able to get through quite as quickly, because here comes Robinson, number 23, and the baby blue Toyota. He's trying to catch up to Patrick Milligan. He's got him in the draft. When are we going to see a pass happen here? Six laps left to go. This is the battle for second, as Dwayne MacArthur has a 2-second advantage over Patrick Milligan, who all of a sudden finds his hands quite full with the likes of Josh Robinson and Tom Ogle. Two Team Miata drivers pushing very, very hard together. Here comes Robinson getting right on the bumper of the number 18, Patrick Milligan. When are we going to see a move happen? As Milligan is able to fend off Robinson and Ogle, allowing MacArthur to stay up front. Milligan doing everything in his power to fend off Josh Robinson, number 23 machine. The laps are rapidly closing. It is 5 laps left to go. Dwayne MacArthur still out front with a 1.9 second advantage over Patrick Milligan and Josh Robinson. But Milligan, he is in the hot seat, because if he makes any mistakes here, he will find himself off the podium. As Josh Robinson looks to make a move to the inside, not quite able to make it happen quite yet in the number 23 machine. Who's going to carry the most amount of speed as Robinson goes high? Trying to make an outside pass stick on Patrick Milligan. Can he make it stick coming out in the start-finish line? Milligan going to use that side draft, not able to make it stick. He's going to follow in tow behind Josh Robinson. Now he's got to try and fend off Tom Ogle in the bright pink number 11 machine. Milligan doing everything in his power to stay in podium contention here, but these guys with fresher tires came in. Oh, they make contact. Milligan and Ogle touch ever so slightly, able to hold on to it, but Ogle doing everything in his power to get up on the inside of the number 18, Patrick Milligan, to secure that podium spot with his teammate Josh Robinson. The laps are rapidly running out. Now what this is going to happen as well, that is allowing Dwayne MacArthur with a whole lot of breathing room up front, keeping these faster cars with newer tires behind them. Every time they battle with Patrick Milligan, it uses up just a little bit more so traction that they will not have at the very end. As Josh Robinson dips to the inside, that's going to allow Tom Ogle maybe pick up the draft as he goes side by side with Milligan across the bricks here at Indianapolis. It looks like Milligan is going to have to settle for 4th here, or possibly 5th, as Andrew Hess, number 54 machine, he's charging hard as well with fresh tires. Milligan looks to the inside of Ogle, not able to make it stick and not willing to give it up just quite yet. Because look at the battle right behind these guys as well. That's Andrew Hess, Mike Schrader battling hard as well for a top 5 spot. So up front, it's Dwayne MacArthur, Josh Robinson, Tom Ogle, Patrick Milligan. Now Milligan's trying to fend off both Andrew Hess and Mike Schrader while still trying to make an inside move happen against Tom Ogle. 2 laps left to go. MacArthur has a full second advantage over Josh Robinson, but this is the heated battle for third right now. They're going to go 3 wide. What's going to happen? Andrew Hess looks to the inside of Patrick Milligan, giving Tom Ogle a chance to breathe here. Milligan's going to get shuffled back. That's also going to allow Mike Schrader to possibly make a move as well in the number 4 machine. No, that's going to be a lap car down. That's Travis Rogers in the mix. The white flag will fly here in Indianapolis. It's MacArthur up front, Robinson second, Tom Ogle third, Hess fourth, Milligan fifth. Now Tom Ogle's going to feel the pressure as here comes Andrew Hess. He came in, and talking about late pit strategies, Hess came in on lap 78 compared to Ogle's 74. Are we going to see a last-ditch effort from the number 54 machine to try and put himself up in podium contention to knock off one of the Team Miata drivers from making it a 2-3 sweep on the podium? Andrew Hess, I don't think he's going to have enough striking time to make something happen. He finds himself about 0.3 seconds back from Tom Ogle in the number 11 Toyota Camry. Lap traffic's going to come into play here, though, as the checker flag flies. Dwayne MacArthur is going to win it here at Indianapolis. Josh Robinson second, and then Tom Ogle will be able to secure third. What a fantastic run from all of our competitors. Well done to all of our competitors out here today. A fantastic race from start to finish that was narrowly decided on pit strategy. It looked like Robinson and Ogle, with that late pit stop coming on lap 74 compared to MacArthur, really paid off. And then MacArthur may have gotten a little bit lucky with lap traffic here today. And we're going to line up our victory lane finishers. A great run from everybody here today. And then after we take pictures, we can try and get our 3 drivers up into victory lane here in the podium booth. But look at that, MacArthur with a well-deserved win here today, doing a fantastic job in the number 97. The Canadian finishing the top spot here in a well-deserved victory. Dwayne MacArthur with a well-deserved burnout here on victory lane. Everybody doing a fantastic job, still trying to get all of our drivers up here into the waiting room as they congratulate each other. But man, oh man, what a great race from everybody. All right, we're starting to get our drivers cycled up here into victory lane. First off, we've got Tom Ogle in the bright pink number 11, the White Claw-backed Toyota Camry. Great job out there, Tom. That seemed like it was quite the finish we saw here.
Yeah, it was. I thought that strategy was going to work out better, but it kind of didn't. Then once that lap car stopped me off of 4 there and I lost third, I knew I was kind of cooked.
Yeah, Tom, it looked like it was working. Like, I mean, just as you said, it worked well until it didn't. You were gaining gobs of time over MacArthur and Milligan. You think this the bad luck draw of lap traffic kind of killed the run there and maybe used up a little bit too much tire having to push, or what do you think happened?
You're spot on. the lap traffic in general was okay, and then coming off of 4, uh, somebody just didn't move, and that stopped all the momentum I had. I lost it, and then I kind of couldn't draft with Josh after that because I got too far behind. So it kind of was a comedy of errors, sort of, that led to that.
Well,
Uh,
Ogle, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I think I went maybe 2 laps too long. You know, that strategy works, like you said, until it doesn't. And if you go too long, then you're too far behind and you can't make up the time.
Yeah, exactly. We saw that happen with Andrew Hess. He came in 4 laps later than you in the final pit stop, and same story as you and Robinson. He had the pace, just not enough lap time or laps to make it happen. Now, so you
Yeah,
think if you did that race again, you'd come in maybe around lap 72 for your final pit stop?
I would have went like 3 or 4 more than those 2 leaders because I was leading that first pit and I ran long. Andrew, Josh, and I are teammates, and we all kind of decided to do that. Nobody really had the courage to run as long as Andrew did, but and then so I came out and I was playing makeup the rest of the game. You know what I mean? And it causes you to run a little bit harder than you normally would. So at the end of the run, you're not gaining like you should.
Yep, that's spoken like a true professional. Tom, great to see you up here, my friends. And again, third place, nothing to sneeze at. Extending that points, getting yourself in a more comfortable position going into the chase. And before we let you sign off, who would you like to give a shout out to that may be supporting you behind the scenes?
Just my teammates, Andrew and Josh, and all the guys that run the league, and you for doing a great job broadcasting.
Oh, always a pleasure, my
And
friend.
yep, congratulations to Dwayne. He's a real good racer. Glad to see him finish up there. It's always, he's probably the guy that I would like to pass for the lead the least. You know, I'm glad to see him get a win.
Well, good to hear it. Always spoken to a lot of friends here at OBRL, and hope to see you do well in Michigan next week.
Thanks. I'll see you there. Have a good week.
You as well, sir.
Thanks.
Up next, we've got Josh Robinson in the number 23 machine, bringing it home in second. Josh, it seemed like the team strategy was working very well, and then maybe just ran out of laps there at the end. What was it like from your point of view?
No, the strategy worked. It did go really well, and we're going to credit Andrew for that one. And it just Dwayne and Patrick were just real strong.
Now, so here at Indianapolis, we talked to some of the drivers before, and they say about 35 to 40 lap pit window. How does the car feel towards the end of those runs? We saw the times rapidly drop off, but how does it actually drive out there?
It seems to drive about the same from about lap 25 and on for us.
Well, Josh, I believe you're still in the points after tonight's race. I know Watkins Glen went very well for you, and maybe Indianapolis didn't quite pan off. If you could change anything tonight to maybe secure that first place spot, what would you have done differently here?
I think I raced above my talent level today, so I'm extremely happy to get a second place here with all the guys that were running up there, and Dwayne just ran a really good race.
Well, a lot of talented drivers. Very cool seeing yourself and Tom Ogle, the two Team Yada drivers, work so hard together, as well as Andrew Hess, who finished fourth here today. Now, how did you guys convince Hess to stay out so long? Did he lose a bet, or what was that?
Actually, he was trying to convince us to stay out a little bit longer, and Tom and I got a little nervous.
Well, you guys looked great out there. The strategy worked very well, able to secure a whole lot of spots there in the final run. Now, Josh, before we let you sign off, who would you like to thank behind the scenes that's giving you all the support to make that 23 so darn fast every week?
Just my teammates, Andrew and Tom. We work really well together, and then just the rest of the league. It's fun running every week.
Well, awesome, Josh. Hope to see you do well next week in Michigan, and always a great time talking to you, my friend.
Thanks, James. Thanks for doing the broadcast.
And then up next, the man of the hour, Dwayne MacArthur, the number 97, the fast Canadian, put it on the top spot. Dwayne, you've got to be ecstatic right now.
Yeah, thanks, James. I'm really, really happy. I haven't won in this series for a long time, but very, very happy. I got really nervous when I saw Josh behind me. He likes to take wins away from me late in a race, so I couldn't be more happy right now.
Now, Dwayne, how nervous were you when you saw those guys going for a little bit longer strategy, and then you saw them rapidly approaching the last few laps? I mean, were you worried at all you're going to have any tires in reserve, or were you just kind of sending it at that point?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous right from about lap 33 when I pitted. I've seen the Miata guys run that strategy before and pretty much always pass me late in a run, and it almost works every time. So I was nervous right from the moment I realized they were going on that strategy.
Well, it seemed to work out well for you. I think lap traffic may have helped out a little bit. Now, we saw the times kind of drop like a rock. At what point in your run were you thinking, man, this car is tight and not a whole lot of fun to drive?
Actually, to be honest, it ran fine throughout the run. I spent most of the time just managing the lap times just to make sure it kept the tires under it. But if you hit your marks, it was always, a very balanced setup. It had lots of downforce, and so it wasn't too bad.
Well, Dwayne, it's always a pleasure talking to you. It's even more fun when it's up here in the top spot of the podium. Who would you like to give a shout out to? Friends, family, sponsors. The floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, everybody watching, obviously, and shout out to everybody at the OBRL, Patrick for putting this on, for sponsoring this series, and a shout out to Steve too. Spent a lot of time with my teammate this week. He was pretty dominant all week in the other cars, and got to follow him for a couple hundred laps, and it definitely paid off today. I hate that he was out of the race there. He probably would have just walked away with this.
Well, great job, Dwayne. Hope to see you do well next week in Michigan. And we'll have to look at the points after tonight, but you may find yourself a little bit closer to Josh Robinson's points lead, so things still shaking up late in the season.
Yeah, a little bit closer. I just wanted to also just quickly just say thanks to REG Customs, my sponsor on my car. So thanks to them. Go check them out. And thanks, James. Great job, bud.
Always a pleasure, sir. We'll see you next week.
You sure will.
And that is going to do it here for the Old Bastards Racing League, the Metro Ford Cup Series, brought to you live by emetroford.com, the title sponsor of today's race. It was a lot of fun, a race won or lost on pit strategy, but Dwayne MacArthur, the fan favorite, fast Canadian, able to put it on the top spot of the grid in number 97. As always, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'd like to thank you all so much for tuning in each and every week. We couldn't do it without you, and the show wouldn't be nearly as much fun. So we hope to see you same time, same place next week as the Metro Ford Cup Series goes to Michigan as we get closer and closer to our Chase Championship. Have a great night, everyone.